right, we'll demonstrate how to do a dressing change. First step is setting up your site. You can use an ordinary towel placed underneath the arm or anything that's clean. At a nursing home setting or even a hospital, towel will be fine. All right, we're on to the phase where we have to do the actual dressing change. So I want you to remember, whatever kit you're using, these are the basic components of it. One, you have to have two sets of gloves. The sterile glove, and you can use the other one as unsterile gloves. Some kits provide both unsterile, both sterile in some kits. But if you don't have both sterile, you only have one sterile glove, you should also have an unsterile glove, okay? Unsterile gloves, sterile gloves, your chloroprep, your drape underneath the arm, some gauze, sterile saline, a ruler or tape measure, and your stat lock. All right, now, very basic, number one, wash your hands. Soap and water, wash your hands. Get dry and then come back. And your first thing you're gonna do is put on your unsterile glove. Here we go. Oh, before I forget, you have to wear a mask. If you're doing the dressing change, wear the mask, okay? Now, here is your, whether this is sterile or unsterile gloves. We're gonna demonstrate on how to remove the tegaderm on top of it. This is where there's a lot of problems when it comes to catheter migrating out, because the dressing is removed the wrong way. So first thing, remove like you were removing your clothes, right? You remove your first thing that's on top, like this tape, take it out. Then when you remove this tegaderm, you're not removing from up to down. That's a no-no. But down, going up. So the catheter is not going to migrate out, okay? So I repeat, not up to down, but down, going up. So you remove it slowly from down. Remember this finger, it has to track down the thing instead of just doing like that, okay? So remove, put your finger there. Does it hurt, Mr. Dante? Then remove this thing on top. Now, this is very tricky. When you're trying to remove your stat lock and your bio patch, this is where a lot of migration happens. So, first, remove the stat lock, which is, there are clips there. You just unsnap it like this. See the other one? Okay, and then when you remove this, this is how you do it. You lift this catheter, the whole catheter you remove. You follow? So remove the stat lock like that. And then remove your bio patch. Voila, nothing migrated out, right? There you go. Now, if you don't want this to be moving, you can put a tape on it in the meantime, like that. So your catheter is stable. So the next part is you're gonna make sure you observe the insertion site. Any redness, any irritation, any drainage, any swelling. So redness, irritation, swelling on the insertion site as well as around the area. Now, let's presume the worst. There is a blood or dried blood on top of or around the insertion site and on the clip area itself from the insertion, because we're doing this the following day. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna rely on this? Mainly no. What you can do is you can get some gauze. One thing I want you to do, especially when your site has dried blood, you need to get a sterile gauze and soak it with saline. Right there, okay? Then you can change your gloves. Before changing your gloves, you can wash again or just use basic alcohol. Then we're ready to put our new set of gloves. All right, we got new set of gloves. Now, if your insertion site has dried blood, I need you to remove that dried blood even before you use your ChloraPrep. So here is our sterile gauze with saline. You can use this, okay? You can use this to clean the site. Your hands have sterile gloves. One innovation you can do is, remember where your sterile gloves was? You can use this, put it on top. So your one sterile hand will be in there, will be on top of it. You keep your hand sterile, and the other one you can use to clean the site. Now, when you remove your tegaderm or your dried blood, you have to scrub it out, right? Scrub it out. Now, if you have to rotate this thing, you can. You can rotate it so you can clean underneath, okay? Remove as much debris you can, so that once you're done, okay, in a way where once you're done, your site look clean again. Okay, so you can get another dry sterile gauze, dry it up, and this time your next step is to use your ChloraPrep. All right, here's your ChloraPrep. Here's how you activate it. You press this too, and you let that solution come down to the sponge area, and you know it has gone down because it's soaked. So now you're gonna do is paint the area. The word is paint. No longer scrubbing because you already scrubbed out the debris. So you just paint it, okay? If you need to invert this, do so, and then paint that area about 2 inches away. And the most important thing is you let that solution dry up. Do not get a gauze and pat it dry. Leave the solution to dry. Why? That's how your solution works in killing your bacteria. Okay? So now, I'm gonna pat it dry so we can continue. Now, let's presume your site is dry already, right? Your site is dry already. We had it dry up for about 2 minutes or so. What's the next thing? You're getting ready to put your StatLock and your BioPatch, right? So here's your StatLock. There's 2 things there. There is a skin protectant, which you need to apply. You apply this right around where it will meet the edges of your tegaderm. Now, once you're done with that, you get your BioPatch. And again, this is how you do your BioPatch, okay? So you lift this catheter up, put your BioPatch there, and then you get your the BioPatch. If you have BioPatch, now you lift this a little bit, slide the BioPatch underneath, and make sure it is all the way to the insertion site. Okay, then you have your StatLock. The same thing, you lift this thing up, put those posts to the corresponding hole. Then there is, what do you call this thing?
Tab.
Yeah, you have to pull this out so that the part of the StatLock sticks to the skin. Same on the other side. Okay, now you're ready to put your tegaderm. Now the tegaderm, the whole thing about the tegaderm is, if you look at the tegaderm, there's a window. The idea is that you put that biopatch on the center of the window. So when you remove this, there are two ways you can do this. You can do it removing the whole thing, or doing it halfway at the time. I usually like to do it halfway of the time. So you do it this way, like this, right? So everything gets to be centered. Right there, right? So you let this part stick first, half of it, and then this part, you pull it and you follow it with your other finger, and it's nice and snug. Okay? Now what do you do with this part? You can apply it this way. Lift this thing and put it underneath. There you go. The only thing you haven't done is put a date. Okay? Now, once your dressing is on, we're going to have to deal with this part. This is part of the dressing. You want to make sure that this is clean. There are no tape residue. This part is clean, and this one is not bloody. Okay? So, what's the other part? You have to get a arm measurement, measured from the bend of the arm up to about 10 centimeters. So let's presume this is the bend of the arm. So we take your tape measure. If this is the bend of the arm, you measure up to 10 centimeters. You lift the arm, sir, please, sir. And then you measure around 10 centimeters from the bend of the arm. Is about 26 centimeters. Okay. Okay, before we remove the dressing, we have to put a drape under the arm. On any dressing kit, there is always a drape. So here's a typical drape will come in. When you open this drape, what you can do is hold on to the edges. Just the edges. Find where the edge is. Like that. And if your patient can move his or her arm, ask them to lift the arm and just put this that way. Even just the edge of it. You don't have to put it all the way. This part is fine. Right there. Now we're ready to remove the tegaderm. Now we have here a situation where you're using a gel type CHG made by 3M. This is pretty tricky. So to remove the tegaderm, the tegaderm with the CHG gel type, it's the same principle. You lift up, up, down, going up, not up, going down. Not this way, but that way. So start removing from the bottom, right? Now this is the part where a lot of times the catheter migrates. So here's what I would suggest. When you're removing this tegaderm part, always use your other finger by pressing on it like that. See that? And just pull it slowly, just like that. If you can, do not be afraid to put your finger there. There you go, voila. For these people, for you out there using CHG gel type, when you apply this tegaderm, make sure that that gel type is on the center, not this way. The purpose of this is for the insertion site. So you put it right there, you let the CHG stick first, and then you pull your tegaderm and let it stick, just like that. That's how it should look like. Your insertion site in the center of this. Then you put this other part, and you are all set. Ta-da! Right, we're gonna demonstrate on how to clean the hub. In previous video we taught you how to clean the port. That's the port, right? You also have to clean the hub, which is this part. Have you noticed some instances you have gooey looking, dry, snot looking thing inside there? You cannot leave it that way. You have to clean it. And my suggestion in cleaning it in a way where you keep it still clean and sterile is with the use of alcohol. Here we go. Alcohol, if you get 5 or 4 or something that is thicker than just 1. So let's say you have 5 here. What do? You cut it in the middle, like that. And you expose half part of it. That remains sterile, right? You hold this part like this, okay? So you can open this with the other hand, expose that part, and hold your alcohol on the edges of it. The rest of the alcohol is clean because you haven't touched it. You put it on top of it, wrap it around, and scrub it like you're juicing an orange, right? Now, once that's done, you do it, what, how long? 15 seconds. Then you let it dry out. Don't attach the cap right away. So the hub is clean and dry. We are ready to change the cap or put a cap on the hub. So syringe with a cap, make sure that the fluid has come out on the other side so you're sure it's primed. Then you now connect this together. What's the next step? You open and you check for blood return. Once you see the blood return, you flush it. We demonstrated already in the previous video on how to flush it, so we'll skip that. Thank you.